All right, everybody. Zack Cockfield with New 2 Media again. I'm excited to have with me Natasha Barrera. Natasha is the CEO of Barrera Financial, which is a small business focused tax and accounting firm based in Los Angeles. Natasha, it's great to be
Hey,
with you again. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. Natasha, one of the things that I was really impressed by when I interviewed you and learned more about your firm is that your firm handles this entire process. You are not just gathering some information and farming out tax resolution cases to another firm. I'm impressed that your firm has enrolled agents, CPAs, bookkeepers, and the entire team on staff to handle these types of cases and even more complex cases. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you help families that are dealing with these issues. Can you tell me a little bit about the process you go through with clients when they're dealing with a tax crisis?
Yeah. Yeah. So to go back a little bit, I am really happy that you highlighted that because I mean, one, I'm super proud of my team. And the team that we have is so solid that we do everything in-house and we have, a specialist for everything. And and so thank you for highlighting that. So the process when it comes to us, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, we go through, you call in and we analyze your case. We get a free or a complimentary consultation and we ask questions. We just start getting familiar with what's going on. And so if it's a case that we want to take and that we are confident in, then we go through the other process. And so it's really broken up into phases, honestly. When it comes to tax resolution, it's going to be a process. It's not something that gets
Right.
resolved in one night. Definitely not. And I tell my clients that all the time. We're going to get to know each other
So
very
do you
well.
mean those commercials I hear on the radio that tell me it's done in 30 minutes or not telling the
Oh
truth?
gosh. You know, there's some commercials that I do watch and I say,
Yeah.
okay, I get what they're doing, but that's not the reality of it. The
Right.
reality is that it's going to be a long road ahead. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I could say that because I've been doing this for a long time and I've seen my clients be happy with, and feel this relief at the end, right? But we get to know each other quite well with my clients. So it's broken up into three phases. And this is
Okay.
the same thing that I'll explain to my clients.
Okay.
It's a phase by phase thing. And so when the first phase comes in, it's really about deep diving into what exactly we're going to need for us to build out the case with the
Right.
IRS. So the first phase is about speaking to the client, getting to know them, getting to know their history with the IRS and with the state that they're in. I mean, we are based in LA, but we work with, we work all with clients. I have a lot of clients on the East Coast. Um, but we start to gather all of the information. I always say I speak like as if I'm a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but when in tax resolution, it feels like it because
Right.
we have to know everything. And so I ask my clients all the questions that I need to ask: financials, what happened, if they were ever part of another corporation, if they were ever another part of an LLC, if they had a business and they closed it down, if they had a foreclosure. Like I need to know so many things.
Yeah.
And so the first phase is really about getting to know every aspect of that and asking for all the paperwork from the IRS, transcripts from 20 years ago. I need to do a deep dive. So like I said, I get very familiar with my clients and I get to know them quite well.
And you said that, during this phase one, you become their advocate. What's the term? You become their
I
representative.
become the representative. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I become
Okay.
the representative. So part of phase one is also getting in touch with the IRS, telling them that I'm the rep now, or one of my members of my team.
Yep.
We're the reps now on behalf of so and so. They've
Mhm.
hired us, and so letters, any calls. Well, they would only get a call. Big note here: you don't get a call from the IRS. You only get a call when there's an exact representative on your case from the
Right.
IRS. And
Right.
so all of that starts going to us now. So clients feel a sense of relief because they're not getting letters every other week anymore. They kind of know that the case isn't resolved, but they have someone on their team now who's backing them up, and they don't have to be reminded all the time that they have this big debt. So it's a sense of relief because I start taking on all of that, and I start getting in contact with the IRS on their behalf.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I love that your firm is so thorough. Tell me about phase two. What happens in phase two?
Phase two is like I said, it sounds lawyery, but it's basically us strategizing. I mean, phase one is getting familiar with the case, right? Getting familiar with their financials, getting familiar with their history. And then phase two is actually putting a plan together. It's okay, we know what happened here, we know what happened here. And now we have to kind of create the story of
Right.
what happened, why they can't pay this debt, or why they need to take a lien off their house, right? Why they need to let them have access to their bank accounts again, because that happens a lot. Some people will come to me because something bad really happened. Whether it's a
Right.
lien, whether it's freezing the accounts, whether it's other properties or other businesses that are on the line now. And so
Exactly. And sometimes it's errors that someone else made.
it
You
is.
said,
Sometimes it's a previous CPA or a tax preparer, not to speak badly, it's my
sure.
industry, but it has happened. It's happened
Right.
where they've hired someone with not enough experience or didn't know how to really properly handle how to do an S corporation tax return.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a whole mess, right?
Yeah.
So we know what the problem is and we know how we need to solve it. And so we start preparing the case. We have all the documentation to now support why we're going to do this negotiation, why we're going to do an offer in compromise, why we're going to ask them to take the lien off their house.
Right.
We have everything that we need, and we start building the case out and building that story out for our client in order for us to prepare this to the IRS agent that's on board, or to the IRS in general, or to their state.
Fantastic. And
Mm-hmm.
and you said that phase three is presenting their case, right?
Phase three, yeah. So if we're getting to phase three with the client, then I always say this is where you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like I said, this isn't short, but this can be a quite a process. But the second that we get to phase three, it's because we're confident that we have what we need to present our case to the IRS agent to say, you know what, this client is not going to pay $200,000. You're never going to see it, and this is what she or he can do,
Right.
but you need to take the lien off their property, and they're not going to give you their property. The equity that they have in their property, that's their only retirement. There's no way you're going to take their house.
Yeah.
And so this is what happened. This is why they can't ever pay this, and this is what they can do. And it's not a take it or leave it situation. It's a negotiation, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it's happened. It's happened where I have clients who, were in debt for $200,000 or $242,000, and we settled it for a crazy amount. And people think that it sounds weird, or it sounds like it's too good to be true. It's not. It's that I have a team here who has so much experience, who
Yep.
I know I don't know everything, but I have a team and I know who knows what I need to know for my client. And
Exactly.
yeah, so that's phase three, the light at the end of the tunnel, where we settle on something,
Yeah.
and the client has this complete, out of body experience almost of relief, because it's crazy, Zach. It's crazy how these things don't let my clients sleep.
Oh, I've
They
heard about, yeah.
they the stress, hair loss, these marital problems. They can't pay for certain things for their kids. It's one of the biggest stresses I've ever seen in a human,
I believe
and
it.
so this job is very rewarding too.
Absolutely. You're
Mhm.
truly helping people by doing this.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to show some of those testimonials and some of those success stories that your firm has had.
Yeah.
And we're going to encourage people to scan the QR code or click the link below so that we can help you get connected to Natasha and her team. But Natasha, tell us a little bit about how your fees are structured. Tell us a little
So
bit about how that arrangement works. I think you provide a lot of value in the way that you do this.
yeah, I mean, I've heard it all and I've seen it all, right? And so I'm not somebody who takes on a client and says it's going to be this amount that you have to, like in other senses, here's a retainer fee and it's being used up throughout the whole time. No, I charge in the same phases that I just explained. So phase one is that analyzation. First, it's the onboarding and it's the analyzation, right? Because I'm
Yep.
taking you on as a client. I know what kind of case I'm taking on, and so I have to also get those people on my staff to, you know, focus in on this case. So we
Right.
do it in phases. So it's a certain amount when someone comes in. The first phase, they pay that retainer fee so that we can become their representative in the eyes of the IRS. That's very important. And
Right.
so I always want clients to see the value in even just the first phase because it's letting the IRS know to not bother them anymore. Now you
Right.
got to bother me.
That's right. You said those
Yeah,
letters start coming to you, right?
yeah. They'll start coming to me. And if a client does still get a letter, even though I've still noticed that they'll still feel a sense of relief because they know that I got the same one. Or
Right.
so, and I'm already on it. I'll
Yep.
send them. I'll even send them a text saying like, "I got it. Don't worry. This is just part of the process."
We're on it.
Yeah. And so I have a certain fee just depending on the kind of case it is. Of course, every single case is very different.
Right.
And so when there's maybe someone out there saying that they charge a certain fee for every case, it's kind of hard to believe because every case is so different.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, sometimes it's not just involving one tax year. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a record of it's something from 9 years ago,
Yep.
and it was happening every single year because they overlooked it. So yeah, so it just depends on the case, but we charge in phases. We don't charge one lump sum in the beginning. We
Very
we
good.
want to we want to build that trust, and so I think that the reason it's worked for us for so long is because the clients will see that we do phase one very well. It's done, and they feel comfortable, and then so when it's time for phase two, they feel so comfortable at that point that they are like, okay, great, we built a trust already. I know you're in this. I know we're committed, and here you go. So.
Very good. Very
Mhm.
good. Um, okay. And tell me, um, if someone that's watching right now is realizing, hey, I really need to do something on this, how would a client contact you to to move forward? What do they need to do at this point?
So I mean, you mentioned that we would be showing a QR code, which I love. If they scan the QR code, they'll just fill in some information, just basic information that we'll need to know in order to just get an idea of what kind of debt they have, or if they even know what kind of debt they have, if they even have, the most recent letters from the IRS.
Right.
And then they'll schedule a call with us. The call is complimentary. It's a complimentary 30-minute call.
Very
And
good.
from there, they'll have one of my people in house. I don't outsource any of this stuff to call centers. When you're getting on a call with Barrera Financial, you're getting on a call with someone right here in these offices. So it's very important that I highlight that because you get someone experienced.
Very
And
good.
and so we're not just taking this. It's not just this quick intake. It's an actual detailed intake so that we know if this is a case we can help with, and if it is great, and if it's something that's really not up our alley or maybe not in our specialty, we'll gladly recommend them to somebody who can help them.
Very
And
good.
so, yeah, and then from there, they'll make an appointment either over Zoom or if they're local in person with the tax resolution specialist like myself.
Very good. All right. Well, Natasha, that's been very helpful. I know we're going to now show the viewers a few examples of the success stories you've already had.